The Galactic Council convened an emergency session for the first time in 12,000 cycles. Representatives from 47 species filled the crystalline chamber, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony that the translation matrices struggled to parse. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Chen Wei, hands clasped behind her back, wearing what the Vraxians had learned to call her diplomatic smile, the one that never reached her eyes. "This is unprecedented," chittered the hive coordinator of the K'threl collective, its mandibles clacking with agitation. "Your species has been part of the Council for barely 3 standard years, and already you demand access to the Forbidden Archives." Chen's smile didn't waver. "We're not demanding. We're informing. Earth vessels are already en route to the Epsilon Vault. We thought it would be courteous to let you know." The chamber erupted. The Vraxian Supreme Chancellor's scales flushed crimson, a sign of extreme distress. "The vaults are sealed by elder law. The treaties that bind this council together depend on no species accessing that knowledge." "Elder law," Chen repeated softly. She pulled a small data chip from her jacket pocket. "That's an interesting term. Tell me, Chancellor, what do you actually know about the Elders?" The question hung in the recycled atmosphere like a blade. The Vraxian's throat sac inflated uncertainly. "Everyone knows the Elders. They built the mass transit gates. They uplifted the first civilized species. They disappeared 10 million years ago, leaving only their vaults and the warning, some knowledge is too dangerous to possess." 10 million years, Chen mused. She inserted the chip into the chamber's central console. "I'd like to show you something my government's archaeological teams discovered on Mars last year." The holographic display activated, showing a dig site in Valles Marineris. Buried beneath layers of rust-red rock was a structure, impossibly ancient, yet undeniably technological. But it was the inscription that caused the chamber to fall deathly silent. Every species had their own writing systems. Every species except the Elders, whose symbolic language had been found on the gates and vaults across the galaxy. A language no one could fully translate. A language that existed nowhere else in the known universe. Until now. The inscription from Mars was illuminated beside a gate symbol. They were identical. "That's impossible," whispered the K'threl coordinator. "Your world has no gate. Your species only achieved faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. You're practically children in galactic terms." Chen's smile finally faded. "Are we? Tell me, how many species in this council evolved naturally to sentience?" The question seemed absurd. The Youth Kara delegate's tentacles coiled in confusion. "All of us, naturally. We evolved on our homeworlds." "Did you?" Chen advanced the hologram. "Our geneticists have done something interesting over the past 3 years. We've collected DNA samples from every council species. With your permission, of course, obtained through various trade agreements and cultural exchanges." More data flooded the display. Genetic maps. Evolutionary trees. Mathematical models. Every single species in this council shows evidence of artificial genetic manipulation approximately 10 million years ago. Targeted mutations to accelerate intelligence. Optimized neural structures. Edited aggression genes. You weren't uplifted by the Elders. Chen paused. You were created by them. As experiments. As servants. Perhaps as children, if we're being generous. The Vraxian Chancellor's voice was barely a whisper. That can't be. It gets better. Chen wasn't smiling anymore. Or worse, depending on your perspective. Humans. We show no such manipulation. Our evolutionary tree is unbroken, naturally progressed over 4 billion years. We are exactly what we appear to be, a species that clawed its way to sentience through random mutation and natural selection. She pulled up another image. More inscriptions from Mars, alongside excavations from Earth's own ocean floors and Antarctic ice. We found elder sites on Earth dating back millions of years. Research stations. Observation posts. All destroyed, all abandoned exactly 10 million years ago. We think we know why. The holographic display shifted to show a star map, tracking human migration patterns back through archaeological evidence, genetic drift, and linguistic evolution. But Chen overlaid something else, the predicted expansion pattern of a species originating not from Earth, but from a point in space that corresponded to the galactic coordinates of the largest concentration of elder ruins. The elders didn't disappear, Chen said quietly. They went home. And their home was a planet that, through continental drift and geological processes, no longer looks anything like it did 10 million years ago. A planet that was subsequently struck by several extinction-level events that reset its biosphere multiple times. A planet that, when its dominant species finally evolved intelligence again, naturally this time, without any engineering, produced us. The implications crashed through the council chamber like a tidal wave. You're saying, the K'threl coordinator's voice was barely audible, that humans are the elders? No, Chen corrected. We're saying we're their descendants. Whatever civilization built the gates and vaults and created your species, that's long gone. But somewhere in humanity's genetic memory, somewhere in our junk DNA and ancient instincts, we carry their legacy. It's why our language centers lit up when we first saw Elder Script. Why our mathematicians solved in months what your best cryptographers couldn't crack in millennia. Why human intuition seems to work with elder technology in ways that baffle your engineers. She gestured to the Vraxian Chancellor. You asked why we're going to the Epsilon Vault. Because we need to know what our ancestors left behind. We need to understand what they were running from, or what they were trying to prevent. The vaults are sealed, the Chancellor protested weakly. Nothing can open them. The elders made sure. The elders made sure their children could open them, if they ever became worthy. Chen held up her hand. On her palm was a small device, pulsing with soft bioluminescence. This is a key, decoded from sequences in human DNA that match elder genetic markers. It's been inside us all along. We just didn't know what we were looking at. The chamber was silent. 47 species grappling with a truth that rewrote everything they understood about their place in the cosmos. Finally, the Youth Kara delegate spoke, their voice carrying the weight of ages. If you are truly their descendants, what will you do with what you find? Chen looked at each representative in turn. The same thing we've always done. Survive. Adapt. Protect those who need protecting. Build things that outlast us. She paused. And maybe figure out what mistake the elders made, so we don't repeat it. And if we try to stop you, the Chancellor asked. The smile returned to Chen's face, the diplomatic one. You won't. Because deep in your engineered genes, in the very code the elders wrote when they created your ancestors, there's a protocol. A fail-safe. A recognition sequence that we only just discovered ourselves. She activated the final hologram. It showed the genetic markers present in every council species, hidden sequences that had gone unnoticed for millions of years because no one knew to look for them. When humans speak, Chen said softly, when we give orders, when we invoke our genetic authority, your species are programmed, on a level deeper than consciousness, to listen. Not to obey slavishly, but to give us the benefit of doubt. To trust us. To follow us when we lead. She looked around the chamber at the growing horror and understanding in 47 pairs of eyes. The elders built you to work alongside their descendants. They just never imagined it would take 10 million years for us to find each other again. Ambassador Chen Wei gathered her materials, nodded to the assembly, and walked toward the exit. Behind her, the Galactic Council sat in stunned silence, every species simultaneously grappling with an identity crisis millions of years in the making. As the chamber doors sealed behind her, Chen allowed herself a genuine smile. Humanity had been afraid of being the newcomers, the primitives, the children of the galaxy. Turned out they'd been the parents all along.